Hey, everybody, welcome back to We Are the Batman. I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
Right now, we are at the last Friday of February, which normally would mean, hey, we're going to do one of our Batman breakdowns where we've been breaking down the live action Batman films in release order. And we realized we only got one left, and it's The Batman.
And we already reviewed that thing.
That was the first thing we did on this show. But we figured, it's almost a year away from from the release, or 2 years. I'm sorry, it's almost 2 years away from the release. Sorry, I forgot it's still 2024. So we're close enough that I think it was a good idea to let's just take a look back at it, see how it holds up for us now 2 years later, see how we're feeling about it, and see if, much like the character of Batman in that movie, it has had a growth arc. Before we get into all that, though, we do have some nice little tidbits of DC news that we can get into. But before we even get into that, Matt, how you doing, bud?
Up until the outage of AT&T and my car dying, everything was great.
Other than the fact that you are cut off from the outside world and can't go anywhere, everything's fine.
Yeah. Which is partially freeing, except for, work. So as long as my job isn't constantly taking phone calls and driving around Houston, I should be fine. Oh wait, that is my job. Anyway,
that is your job. Anyway, so let's get into a little bit of news here. Let's start with some cool comics news, which is that a new story arc.
Wait.
What?
How are you doing?
Oh,
you always blow past my answer.
Oh.
Or I always forget to reciprocate. So I'm asking you right now, how are you doing? What's up?
I'm all right. No, I'm good. I'm good, man.
Glad I interrupted your.
I'm good, man. The house is all sold. Yeah, I'm good. We just broke a world record here in town this past week for the longest continuous comedy festival here in Dayton, Ohio. So
that is awesome.
You may have seen that on the news. I know it's been getting some national coverage. So yeah, I was part of that. It was an incredible experience. Thank you to Kevin Rupert and Bricky's Comedy Club and Justin and the guys at Star City Brewing for helping make that happen. And thank you to the audience and the comics that came. It was incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah, comic book news. So there's a new arc coming from Nightwing called Fallen Grayson. It's a 5-part series that is starting on May 21st. I'm gonna share this with you, Matt, so you can see what this cover looks like, because it's oh crap, I have it on the wrong browser.
Is this the one where he's walking through the snow and you got all the stuff behind him?
Yeah, with him and the dog.
Yeah. I'm there, brother. I read Nightwing all the time, so I know.
Okay. Yeah, with Bitewing.
Yeah.
The dog. We love Bitewing. Yeah, so this sounds like a really cool thing. So May 21st, Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo, they're the ones who just won the Eisner Award for this current run of Nightwing. They are coming back here for Nightwing issue number 114. It's a 5-part arc dealing with the whole sabotage, from the heartless sabotage on him. This is basically the conclusion of the story we've been reading.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is finally over, but I was getting a little tired of the weird swashbuckling Nightwing thing. So, as cool as that costume was, it's like, all right, cool. Let's get him back into Bloodhaven. Let's get him back on point, which probably has already happened because I usually read comics in 3 and 4 month increments.
Yeah.
But yeah, I beyond that, Tom Taylor on Nightwing has been a godsend, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, this is I'm at that age and that point in my life where, like, I read comics when they come out in collected collected paperbacks. So I, much like with volumes 1 through 3 of this story, I will be waiting on this one to be collected in all 5 parts. So that's what's going on in comics. Some behind the scenes movie pitch. You knew we were going to talk about this. How could we not?
Yeah.
So couple of the guys who worked on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and we had heard rumblings of this, I think about this time last year or maybe later last year, the idea that, hey, the rumor has that there's like a Batman Beyond movie in the style of Spider-Verse being developed. And I think a lot of us kind of wrote that off as like, okay, cool. We prefer a live action one. We'd prefer actual Blade Runner Batman, but Spider-Verse movies are incredible. So, and when you give the cyberpunk world Batman Beyond takes place in, yeah, that could work. Well, now it has been revealed that that was half true. Um, Patrick Harpin and Yuki Demers, who worked on Across the Spider-Verse, had taken to the Warner Brothers and basically said, "Hey, we want to pitch a Batman Beyond movie." And I'm quoting here, they warned them there is absolutely no way we can do a Beyond movie. But when they pitched them or showed them their concept or whatever, they said never turned into maybe. And they released these stills of their concept art from what they wanted to do. There's the one with like him being attacked by ink and standing on the city skyline and going through an alley. And these are cool, Matt. These are really cool.
Yes, they are.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. If this is what they're pitching at, if this was enough to get the studio heads to go from absolutely not to actually wait a second, that says something. What did you think about this when you read this and heard about this?
I mean, this to me, it's a no-brainer. Like something like Batman Beyond is going to be more CGI than live action.
1,000%.
Your actors may be live action, So for me, just turn the knob 2 more clicks and just do the Spider-Verse thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I've said it before. I know I've said it on other podcasts. I think I've said it here. Like the fact that we have not gotten more animated films based on comics is ridiculous. The Spider-Verse movies, Big Hero 6, like there are certain properties out there that are just made for this, you know.
Could have done this with Howard the Duck and it would have been awesome.
Howard the Duck, Power Pack is the one I always say, like it's a kids superhero group or a superhero group made of children. Perfect for this because you don't have to worry about them aging out of the roles if you have to do sequels. The Incredibles, the first one was amazing. The second was something, but
It was fine.
it was fine. But I think, yeah, Batman Beyond, I think is perfect for this. As much as you said, it's always cool to get live action, but you could do way beyond. I mean, just looking at what they did with Spider-Verse creatively and artistically, if you can give me that in Batman Beyond, I would be so down for that.
Like I'm showing you this one right now. And if you guys haven't seen these images, they're all over the internet at this point. But this one right here where it's ink attacking him and he's flying through the city, this shot right here, like this is a trailer shot.
Yeah.
This is the last shot of a trailer that makes everybody go, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Before the title comes up and the release date. Like this is your money shot right here because I do think that as much as I love Batman Beyond, the biggest problem the show had was its villains, which is saying something about a Batman show, but Ink was probably the best villain to come out of that, not just by comparison, but it was a damn good villain and a really cool story that unfortunately, when you go back and watch Batman Beyond, you realize, oh, every villain basically gets 1 episode per season.
Yeah.
No, there are no villains other than Derek Powers as a whole. There are no villains, like actual super villains they get more than 3 episodes in all of Batman Beyond. Which is a bummer. But Ink was definitely the coolest. And if this maybe turns into a gonna happen, I hope it's not a one and done. Like I don't want them to do one and then be like, there you have it. Now shut up for another 10 years. Like if it comes out and it crushes, I hope they keep going with it like they did with Spider-Verse. Like I hope they come to it with this isn't just a one and done to shut everybody up kind of thing.
Well, even if you did, I mean, this is old school when I go this, like Buck Rogers, that was a movie in the theater that essentially turned into a pilot that essentially turned into a TV show.
Well, that's what they did with Clone Wars.
Yeah. So I think if you did something like that, that would be a great way to bring Batman Beyond back.
Oh, if they did a movie and then did a An
The,
animated series.
the series. I mean,
Oh,
again,
please. No, more Batman Beyond, please and thank you.
well, because that's the thing in my mind that I really think about is like there is a gap, pardon me, a gap of age with cartoons right now.
Yeah.
Like you've got Teen Titans Go and you have Bat Wheels, which are both technically sub 6 years old people.
They're for children. They're for anybody under the age of 13.
Even lower than that, I would say.
Bat Wheels especially.
Yeah. And then you have Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
There is not a single animated show right now between the ages of 8 and 20.
That's family friendly but not kid friendly.
Yeah. There's nothing.
Like there's no OG Teen Titans cartoon right now.
Yeah.
There's
like
no
Young Justice is done, and I hope it is because his last
Yeah.
2 seasons, please.
There's no Justice League Unlimited right now. There's no
So getting a Batman Beyond that would rest in that time in that age group, I think it's perfect because he's. I mean, you have to refresh my memory because I've only seen a couple episodes. He's still in high school, yes, like later high school, or
well, we talked about this when we did our pitches for it like a year and a half ago. He's like young enough that he has a juvie that he's still in high school, but they never really say how close to being graduated he is. I mean, he can drive. He's at least 16.
Okay.
He's between 16 and 18.
My point more is he's young enough that younger kids go, it's a kid, old enough where teenagers can go, these are the things I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And not so young that adults are going to be like, man, it's annoying watching him do his thing.
Yeah.
And I think that this is really, I'm like, again, it's weird to say it because I still have yet to go back, rewatch the whole thing, is I think we are ripe for some kind of DC animated show within this era. And let's be honest, no, I'm not going to do that. Forget it. I was going to take a huge dump on X-Men 97, but I forgot that you're excited about it.
Don't you dare, sir. Don't you dare. Gambit charging Wolverine's claws is the money shot of the year, baby. But I will say, like, from what we've heard about this,
how is he writing him?
Huh?
How is he writing him?
Wolverine stocky. He's a mutant. Don't worry about it. That's the part you have a problem with in a show where dudes have claws popping out of their hands and are throwing exploding playing cards. You're like, how's that one guy carrying that other guy?
It just cracks me up because I was like, when I first saw that shot, I was like, essentially his boot tips are in the back of his belt. Okay, sure, why not?
Roll with it. It's not the weirdest thing to happen on that show. But no, I think you're right. We've heard a lot of rumblings about this Batman Cape Crusader show coming to Amazon Prime, and it sounds like it's kind of in the vein of what you're talking about. My Adventures with Superman was kind of there.
I guess that's true.
A little bit. So it's not that we're not getting it. We're just not getting a lot of it.
Yeah.
But also I think that's because you do those shows in such bursts because the kids stuff is always going to have high viewership because it's going to have high repeat viewership. And same with the older stuff. Whereas that mid-range stuff, like we're talking about, I don't know what the return on investment that is if they still to this day are like, hey, listen, every time we put these out, they basically break even.
Well, and some of it too is, remember, the alleged reason, the big rumor reason why Young Justice was eventually canned is because the toys didn't sell. You could sell toys to little kids all day long.
And you can sell collectibles to older adults.
Yeah, so that may be what it is. I don't know. I just feel like there really is a show in that age gap that you could give us that would be great. But I'll about to say Batman Beyond, yes. Spider-Verse version of that, yes.
Yeah.
More like, dude, New Gods in Spider-Verse?
Dude. Oh, yes, please. So on to our next piece of news we got here. Just going to gloss over these last few. The Penguin TV series has officially wrapped filming. Carmen Ejogo is in the show, and it has not been revealed who she's playing. But yeah, they have confirmed that the show has officially wrapped filming. So since we didn't get anything at the Super Bowl, I would imagine we've got to have something coming soon.
I mean, when is it supposed to come out?
They haven't given an actual release date yet either. That's the thing. We've already seen some cut together footage in that in production spot they released last year. And I know that when it comes to Matt Reeves, like we had a year between Batman trailers. Now, granted, that was mostly because of the pandemic, but yeah, so hopefully we'll get something for that soon. And then we got a couple of little pieces of Superman Legacy news, which one is really interesting. That people were posting some pictures from the first table read, and everybody noticed that the Superman logo they're choosing to go with seems to very closely resemble the Kingdom Come Superman emblem with the kind of weird looking S. Everybody had it on their name cards. Isabella Merced has it on there. Sarah Sampaio, who's playing Eve Tessmacher, had it on there. And we also saw this recently on the Crisis on Infinite Earths thing that the Arrowverse did. So our first look at or inkling at what kind of design we're probably going to be seeing from the Superman suit.
I think it makes sense. Like, I think if James Gunn wants this to stand out as completely different from everything that's happened lately, I think that's going to be a thing. I don't have a problem with that. Like, I don't know that anyone's done the yellow S on the back of the cape. It'd be cool if that somehow came back.
Not since Dean Cain. Did
he
Dean Cain have it? I swear
don't,
he did.
I don't know. It's kind of hard because they never showed his back.
No, because they didn't want you to see the strings.
And they wanted to show off his chest. Sorry. We randomly started rewatching that the other day.
Does not hold up.
I
don't think it holds up very well. I think it holds up better than I thought it would, but still not great.
It's like, if you're talking about special effects, no. Everything else I think still works. And like, I guess it's been so long. Like, I forgot how horny that show was. Good night.
Yeah, it was one of those, because it was a UPN show. You got to remember, man, UPN was the horny network.
Was it? No, I think it was pre-UPN.
Was it pre-UPN?
It's pre.
Well, but it was on the air at the same time as, like, a lot of TV was pretty horny at the time.
Silk Stockings is running at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. They had a Witchblade series running at that point on Sci-Fi. Anyway,
it comes out in 93, so way before UPN. But it was funny because my teenager loves it.
Really?
She's just like, every night she's like, "Hey, can we watch that again?"
Well, it was very much a superhero show written for, like,
it's a romantic comedy,
the rom-com crowd, the soap opera crowd. Like, it had all the hallmarks of a decent comic book show, at least for the 90s, but like, it was always promoted as like you would see like a Shonda Rhimes show nowadays, like that kind of the melodrama, as it were. But anyway,
and on top of that, like, it just kind of makes me laugh. Like, I'm gonna be weird for a second and just say, like, man, Dean Cain was a good-looking dude. Holy mackerel!
Good-looking dude. Well, that again, it was a weeknight melodrama. You had Terry Hatcher, who very quickly became an awakening for a lot of young men and women, I'm sure, and Dean Cain, who was the exact same thing. I mean, this was a show of attractive people. Even Jimmy was a good-looking dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Both Jimmys, because they had two different Jimmy Olsens.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's our first look at an idea for what we're going to see as far as Superman's logo goes from this table read. Also cool that they're having a table read. And also, we heard this week they're going to be filming parts of this movie in Cleveland, Ohio, just a few hours drive away from me, because that is where what's his name?
Oh,
no, I was gonna say that was where the guy who created him was from.
Oh, Joe Shuster and
thank you. Yeah,
Joe Simon.
Yeah,
Schuster and Simon. We'll just go with that. Good nugget.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, they're going to be shooting part of it. So I may have to make a trip to Cleveland.
There you go. Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Good night. I figured.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, that's where Siegel and Schuster are from. Is from Cleveland. So that's cool. All right, I think that's all the news we've got. Thank God. Because we need to talk about this movie, Matt.
All right, let's do it.
We need to talk about the Batman, the movie that started this podcast, the movie literally and figuratively, the movie that really just, I mean, you talk about a an experience the first time you watch this movie, big screen or small screen. If you're a lover of just filmmaking, if you're a lover of Batman, if you're a lover of mystery and noir, I mean, that first experience seeing it, I mean, I think I saw this in the theaters like 5 times, uh, which is the most I've seen any movie in a theater.
Oh wow.
And I've watched it considerably since it's been available on Max. It's just a lot. We're going to take a look back at this and see what we think about it as far as how well it's hold up. You can probably tell from the way I've been spouting about it and how I still feel about it. So Matt, we'll go to you first. How do you feel about this movie almost 2 full years removed?
I don't think my opinion has changed, and that it's really really good. There are aspects of this movie that I think are fantastic, and it's everything Batman. The biggest problem I've had with a lot of the Batman movies is I was reading Batman in the 80s and 90s, and he was always working with the cops. You never see that in the movies. Maybe a little bit here and there, but not even like interacting. Like he shows up, everybody leaves, he talks to Gordon, and takes off. That wasn't how it was. So I love that you see him amidst the flatfoots, amidst the detectives, amidst the crime scenes, and you really see him kind of there, part of almost like the police force. I love that. I love the fact that Battinson can act through this thing. However, I cannot defend people who think the movie's too long. I cannot defend this movie against people who think it's too long. I I don't feel like it's too long, but I have to say when I watch this movie, I never watch it front to back. I get to he talks to the Riddler, and then usually I turn it off and I go back and watch the last 20 or 30 minutes. So I think I can't say it's long. I just think like I you cannot make this movie a 2-hour movie with everything that's in it. You have to take it back to its structural core to make it a shorter film. So I can't say, oh, you could have done this. It should have been better. I just feel like, yeah, I get people who are like, no, it's too long, because it's
Yeah.
not an action movie. It is a noir detective film.
Yeah.
But I still, I mean, I think I've watched it. What is this? I probably have watched it at least 5 or 6 times in the last year.
Rookie.
So
Those are rookie numbers. You got to get those numbers up. You got to get those now. Oh.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah. It's
Um,
all mustard stuff. He's above the
yeah.
shoulder stuff. No,
I I can't argue with you about the length thing. And again, I don't mind the length of it. I don't have a problem with long movies as long as there's something interesting happening. And I had to preface with a lot of my family and friends before they watched it. I had to tell them going in. I was like, understand, it's not an action movie. It's a it's a mystery. It's a long mystery with Batman in it. And I think that helped a lot of people when they first saw it because they were like, I'm glad you told me that because I would have been looking for the fights.
yeah, it's insane. Like the when the action happens, it's badass,
Yeah.
but it's not anywhere near as constant. And because like even the Nolan movies have some humor or have some things that are happening.
Yeah.
This is just like you're literally following Batman on a detective journey. So you're
Yeah.
gonna have those like 30 minutes of him looking through stuff and investigating and talking to people. And it's great. It's fantastic. But it for a short action film, it does not make.
No. Yeah, you'd have to go back to page 1 on this thing and rewrite it from jump to get this thing under 3 hours because that's the thing too. It's like there is no fat on this steak.
Yeah.
Like everything that's in this story services the story. There's no fluff. The only fluff that was there was cut out, and that's the 5-minute scene with the Joker, because ultimately it doesn't further the story along. It's just a really cool sequence. Now, it does provide some context to where we're at as far as Batman's journey with the Joker, because I think a lot of people thought the way the movie ends is teasing that he's going to be the next big bad. And I don't think that's the case. You know, Matt Reeves came out and said, that was meant to be he's already dealt with the Joker, not the Joker's going to be coming back. Like, now Barry Keoghan did confirm in an interview that he is coming back to play the Joker in Batman Part 2. But again, it could just be like we've seen. He doesn't have to, he can be in it and not be the big bad, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing I probably would have minded not seeing. But at the same time, it's not like it took up like, I'm glad they cut that scene out, because I'd have been like,
Yeah.
what the crap are we watching?
Yeah.
But I think
I love the scene. It has no business being in the movie.
yeah, I think you could easily not have had that at the end, and it doesn't affect the movie in any way, shape, or form.
I don't think that was I think that was more of a world building moment.
Yeah.
And again, once Matt Reeves explained that was meant to be, because I was like a lot of people, I was kind of like, is he teasing him as the next big bad, or what are we? I wasn't sure what that scene. And then when he came out and said, yeah, that was just meant to be hey, we've already dealt with this thing. You know, it wasn't meant to be this is coming. It was meant to be this has already been dealt with.
Yeah.
I think the deleted scene does a better job of conveying that.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's already in prison and he talks about how it's the 1-year anniversary. So the deleted scene does a better job of conveying what he was trying to get across, but the scene itself, everything he learned, he doesn't learn anything from that. And the whole the idea of him seeing himself in the Riddler comes up again a few scenes later anyway. So you really didn't need the scene in the movie.
Yeah. But like I said, I think it's really good. I think this is one of those movies that, like, yeah, it's Batman, but I've told dozens of people, like, do you like noir detective films? Do you like noir films? Go watch it. I know you're not
Yeah.
a superhero fan.
Do you like David Fincher movies?
Yeah.
This is very David Fincher-esque.
In my opinion, there's one moment that's comic book BS, but the rest of it is real. And
Which
that's
part?
when he's using the squirrel suit to come down, and he gets caught on the bridge, and like, no, dude, that dude would be dead.
Oh, when he hits the bridge, he's dead.
Yeah. That was the only part I was like, or he lays there and he slowly crawls away, and he has to reset some.
He stood up a little too fast after that. I mean, he was clearly in pain, but he stood up a little too fast.
That was my only, like, all right, you had me until this.
The only see for me, the only thing that was really a little outlandish was when the final big action sequence starts, when he busts in to take out the Riddler goons. Did he take the time to set up those explosives along the curvature of that thing perfectly for the drama? Like, or were those already there? Because don't get me wrong, the entrance is a 10 out of 10, no notes whatsoever. But I can't help but think about, but this is where my nerd brain goes. It's like, how long did that take? How many people were getting shot while he was going, nope, got it, paint the explosive gel in just the right shape. I said the same thing about the Dark Knight, when the Dark Knight Rises, when he lights it up and there's the flaming bat signal on the tower. I was like, did he spend 15 hours painting that? Because that's about how long that would have taken.
I just think it must have been, that's what the gun on his hip is the bomb gun. Just like Batman had it in Dark Knight, where he could shoot the sticky bombs. I think it's just a pistol, and he just shot it. Took him like 45 seconds.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with that.
No, that was the one moment in the movie where even I was kind of like, okay, he could have just busted down through the skylight. I appreciate the flourish, to quote Batman Forever, showmanship. But it was I was kind of like, okay, that doesn't make, I don't know, whatever, it's cool, it's fine, I'm in.
Yeah, there's always those weird moments of movies where I go like, there's a story. Like, I know we're going off tangent, but this always cracks me up.
Well, this is the whole point.
Yeah, the first Star Wars, The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
It is an amazing entrance when those two gigantic hangar doors open and Darth Maul is in the middle.
Yeah.
There's no physical way he could open that door.
It was an automated door.
It was an automated door.
Yeah, it was.
He opened it because it opened long before anybody showed up.
He also has the Force, dude.
I know, but it's still that means he had at one
It's,
point go like rock, pong.
you can say the same thing about The Empire Strikes Back when they walk in the dining room and Boba Fett and Vader are just standing at back there. It's like, did Vader walk in and be like, okay, so you sit there and you stand there, and we're just
Yeah.
gonna stand here and we're just not gonna say anything, and then they're gonna walk in, they're gonna be totally spooked. Okay.
Yeah. And if
Okay.
it shoots me, don't worry, I'll block it.
Shut up. Here they come. Here they come.
Yeah, yeah.
Shut up. Shut up.
So yes, I always crack up at some of those moments where you're like, "There's a story here we're not seeing," and
Yeah.
sometimes I think that's if I had my own Saturday Night Live thing, I would do a continuing gag of the story we don't see.
Oh yeah. That's why I love it. That's why people love Wicked so much, is because it's the story you don't see with the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
We love that stuff. Um yeah, this movie to me is aged like a fine wine. I can't get enough of this movie. Just everything from the aesthetic to the design, the sound, the music. I still think this movie was criminally snubbed at the Oscars for original score. Michael Giacchino should have been nominated for this movie score 1,000%, and I will die on that hill. Yeah, man, I can't get enough of this movie. Like I said it in our initial review, I've said it a million times. I cannot truly express just how many boxes this movie ticked for me.
Yeah.
As far as my perfect Batman movie goes. And it's one of those things that I love it, but it also makes me infinitely worried that about the sequel, because that was kind of the problem with The Dark Knight Rises, was you had to follow up The Dark Knight. So you're already in an uphill battle. You've already got such a high standard to be held against. So I'm trying to like remind myself, like, I need to, once the movie starts getting to the point where it's going to come out, it's like I'm going to have to remember to temper my expectations, because I don't want to be let down by the hype of a different movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think it'll be interesting. Like I think we're at that point now, especially given Matt Reeves' track record with the Planet of the Apes movies. He upped the ante each time.
Damn right he did. That new
So
one looks cool too. It's not him, but the new
I'm
one
not
looks really cool.
invested. I haven't seen it. I've just heard. I'm going by
Oh,
hearsay.
baby.
And your reaction is enough to say that, yeah, he has done that. So for me, I go, if he did it with a franchise that, in my opinion, is okay, sure.
It was
Why not?
dead.
Yeah.
Nobody gave a shit about Planet of the Apes. Nobody
Yeah.
gave a shit. The last one anybody remembered was the Tim Burton one with Mark Wahlberg, and then before that, and yeah, exactly, and then before that, God knows however long it had been since then. So when that first one came out, and everybody was like, "Yo, this is actually pretty dope," and then Matt Reeves jumps in with the next one, and then he cobbles it all off with War, which was a great movie, but had a terrible title because there was no actual war. There was a small skirmish. It wasn't really a war, but the movie was incredible. Yeah, and Matt Reeves. I mean, and look, Cloverfield, man. People forget he's the guy that did Everyone gives J.J. Abrams credit for Cloverfield. J.J. produced that. Matt Reeves directed it, and that 10 Cloverfield Lane was really good. But the first Cloverfield was just an absolute incredible feat of filmmaking. Say what you will about the movie, here, neither here nor there, but from a filmmaking standpoint, it's incredible. So I have all the faith in the world in Matt Reeves. I'm just I have to sometimes remember to calm my own pants a little bit, because I can overhype things for myself a little bit.
Yeah. And it's good. But yeah, I'm excited to see, just because like I think the one thing that I wasn't a fan of in this movie, but I get the choice, is the Bruce Wayne side. Like,
what do you mean?
Just, we don't ever get the suave, smooth playboy Bruce Wayne.
That's the next movie.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, this is where, for me, I'm on the cusp of saying he's my favorite Batman, but I need the total performance.
Mm.
Most of the guys,
he's not out of costume much in this movie anyway,
which is perfect. I like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, it's like Christian Bale got to be Batman in 3 films. We got to see him do pretty much every single version of Batman somebody could. The older version, the younger version, the playboy, the not playboy, the bat, the angry Batman. He got to do the gauntlet. And he's the only actor who's ever done that, gotten 3 Batman movies to himself.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like Ben Affleck, I think could have been great had he been given a script that was worthy of what he was willing to do.
Because even the couple of minutes we get with him as Playboy Bruce Wayne and BVS are like, I'm like, oh, he's good at that.
Yeah. Oh, I thought this is where the bathroom was.
That might say, I like those shoes.
Yeah, like those shoes. That is stupid.
Yeah,
But I
God,
think, yeah, but I think that's what, like, I need one more movie with him, and then I think he's going to be on the Mount Rushmore of Batmans.
yeah. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I never get enough of this movie. I watch it all the time. When it was like, oh, I need to rewatch this for the show. I mean, I really don't because I watch it probably once a week, but not always all at once. Sometimes it's just like because I love the aesthetic that the movie creates. I love the
Yeah.
atmosphere the movie creates. It makes for something good to have on, especially like in the background when I'm working from home, because then it's like, oh wow, I'm at this part. Cool, I've earned a break.
Yeah.
It's a great way to measure how much time you spent on something.
And I can't wait to see more of that Batmobile.
Oh, buddy, I'm hard pressed as to where to put it for my favorite Batmobile, only just because I didn't get enough of it.
Yeah.
I mean, let me phrase it. I got enough of it for the movie. I haven't gotten enough of it in my life to say yet, because I don't think it was done yet. I want to see that was the functional product. I
Yeah.
want to see the fully finished product. And if they
Like,
decide to just go with that one in general, I'm cool with that too.
yeah. Oh, yeah. This is totally awesome. Did I send you one of those Hot Wheels?
You sure enough did.
Yeah, that's right. That thing's awesome.
Yes, it is.
But I mean, that's pretty much like, I think it's great. It's definitely top tier Batman. It definitely, for me, one of the closest versions of Batman to what we see. Like you said before, he's more Batman than he's not, and that is how the comics go. He
Yeah.
is, it's. I think it's great. It does the thing I don't like, but all the Batmans have done that. I don't like Batman in armor, but I get why you do it.
Yeah.
Um,
But he's not wearing like head to toe suit of armor. Like that's a tactical suit. You know what I
well,
mean?
I
That's
just
a suit
mean,
that's armored. It's armored in all the right.
yes,
It does what the Dark Knight suit was trying to go for without looking so ridiculous.
yeah, and but I mean more like the moment you make Batman bulletproof, to me, it takes away some of his cool. But again, in live action, I don't know that you can get away with not having him be bulletproof.
I
So
mean, it's just kind of, that's one of those things, like that's the reality of the situation. People want a
yeah,
grounded, realistic Batman. He's gonna have to wear armor. He's gonna have to. The- These, you know, too many of these criminals are armed to the teeth. He'd be an
yeah,
idiot not to.
yeah,
Um, he can take a beating. He can't take a bullet. That's
yeah.
just that's just the laws of humanity. So yeah, it's just one of those things, you kind of just got to have to. But again, they did what I think they were trying to do with Bale's second suit, which is he's like, oh, I want it to be more flexible but still be armored, and instead you get just this weird set of pads, and it looked
Yeah.
weird.
No, I think it
Um,
looks great. It's If I thought I could pull off that cowl, I would do the suit.
well, what I love about it is it's compact enough that, remember, he packs it up into a backpack and carries it around,
Yeah,
which I think is the first time we've ever seen truly Batman on the streets
yeah,
in them doing that, because usually it's just him up on the rooftops.
yeah,
It's like, no, the crime isn't on the rooftops. The crime is on the streets. So he's got to be able to blend in, and then when the time comes, be ready.
yeah.
But you also feel like he can handle himself even without the suit. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
mean, he's got the skill, and I like that they did that. So but yeah, I'll watch it again. I'll watch it several more times. I know it's going to constantly be in my rotation. And like you said, it's one of those, like, I'll watch 20, 30 minutes of it and then go off and do something else and maybe come back to it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to the sequel. I think this movie is going to age perfectly.
Yeah.
And I really can't wait to see what Pattinson does with this thing.
Yeah. Very excited for part two. Now that we know the Penguin has finished wrapping, I'm sure it'll be a little bit, and then we'll start to hear some more news about the Batman Part 2 going into production, because last I heard it was slated for a 2025 release. And it's already the end of February 2024. So, you know, it's a lot of work, but who knows? Maybe they've been working on both simultaneously because Matt Reeves pretty much just picked up right from where the Batman left off with the Penguin. So,
Well, something did occur to me, if I can continue, or do you want to
yeah,
stop? Because they were talking about the fact that they announced the Fantastic Four thing, and they're
yeah,
saying it's going to come out in July.
yeah.
Well, that's under a year and a half away.
They've been working on that.
Well, the other thing that occurred to me, because you're right, like you have CGI characters, it's going to be CGI heavy.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it didn't occur to me until the other day when I was listening to another podcast talk about it. Like, you know what is going to save so much time in post production?
Mm,
The volume.
yeah. It
You can
absolutely is.
do all that stuff in the volume. Now, I don't know what the prep time is to get the volume ready to do what you need to do, but
Yeah.
my point is, like, once you film in the volume, you don't have to do backgrounds. You
Yeah.
don't have to do these things. Everything's done. So now it's just you got to create that CGI character. So I think it's totally within the realm of possibility, depending on how much volume use they use, to get a film like Fantastic Four shot in a year, in under a year and a half.
Well, but not only that, you got to remember Pedro Pascal was showing up at all the award shows with his arm in a sling, and everybody kept asking him what happened, and he wouldn't talk about it. I'm willing to bet he got hurt on the set of Fantastic Four and hadn't been cleared to make the announcement yet.
Oh, I am solidly of the mind that they're filming right now.
Yeah, or almost done. Like they have that film is well into production. But
Like
my point more so being that if the Batman plans on coming out next year,
they need to roll soon.
because Superman is already in the table read stage with
Yeah.
sets built and start shooting in a couple of weeks. They're aiming for next summer. So if they're planning on coming out in 2025, they better start rolling.
Yeah.
I imagine Matt Reeves would like a break in between because I don't know how involved he is in the post-production process on the Penguin, but I would imagine he'd like a break at some point before starting on the Batman Part 2. And because last we had heard from Jeffrey Wright was scripts hadn't gone out yet.
Yeah. I
So we'll
mean,
see.
we'll see. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, and it's great that we were able to come full circle with this movie with as far as talking about it on this show, in bringing an end to our live action Batman breakdowns, which is now gets into, we've talked about this before, but what are we going to do next? And we're going to go into the year ones of the Bat family and the Bat universe, as it were. So starting at the end of March, we will be hitting Batman Year One, and we'll be going from there from 1 month to the next. We're going to do Robin and Nightwing and Batgirl, and the origins of some other characters. We'll go through Batman Year 2 and Year 3 as well, because they bear discussing.
Yes.
They bear discussing, and yeah, we're gonna do a lot more comic stuff every month, starting next month with the Batman Year One.
And if there's anything you guys want us to cover, even if we're not doing a Q&A episode, if you're like, you know what, I'd love to hear you guys talk about this cartoon or
Yeah.
this DVD or this storyline or whatever, let us know. And, that'll give us some, because sometimes we're sitting here going like, what's the next thing we do? Let's talk
Yeah.
about Batman's boots and how different his boots are in every movie.
Like we've got some episodes planned out. We are coming up on 100 episodes here soon, and we're going to do something special for that. We'll talk more about that here in the coming weeks. But yeah, if you guys ever anything, because there's a lot, and we are going to overlook some stuff. We're going to miss some stuff. So yeah, if there's a particular comic run you'd like us to really get into, if there's a movie or a show or something that maybe we've just glossed over, please by all means let us know. Or because it's really easy to do it. All you got to do is go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WATB pod. Dumbest URL ever. I hate putting pod at the end of it, but whatever. It's what I could get. Please let us know on there. If you listen to us on the Good Pods app, which I hope you're doing, and thank you if you are, you can leave us comments on individual episodes. Your ratings and reviews of the show go a long way, guys. So we appreciate them whenever you leave us one. And yeah, we're gonna get into the comics this year. We got a lot more cool episodes planned as well. Thank you guys for sticking around with us. You can find me on social media at Mr. Mike Shea.
You can find me at Mr. J Ninja.
That is going to do it for this week on We Are the Batman. We'll see you again next time. Same bat time, same bat podcast channel.
Bye-bye.